Hi all, in this episode we're going to talk about this stamp. This stamp shows a regime change and my favorite,
Postkrieg.
Stay tuned for this episode of Now this stamp is from Southern Rhodesia. If you've never heard of Southern Rhodesia, that's fine, because the name of it today is Zimbabwe. Now, where did Rhodesia come from? A fellow by the name of Cecil John Rhodes, who basically was a sick child. So his father sent him to South Africa to join his brother. Now, when Cecil got to South Africa, or Southern Africa, shall we say, he slowly began to get involved in the diamond industry. And together with some friends, he built himself a very successful diamond mining industry. And Cecil really believed in the idea of a railroad or getting by road from Cape Town all the way up to Cairo, meaning throughout Africa, top to bottom or bottom to top, however way you want to look at it. And he had great ideas because he really believed in the Commonwealth, in Great Britain. So the next stop further north of South Africa is an area called Matabeleland, a large area. There were the Matabeles who ruled the south, and their king was a fellow by the name of King Lobengula. King Lobengula was a heavy man, not unlike yours truly, but I don't have a kingdom. And he made an agreement with Cecil John Rhodes and ceded land away to him. I don't believe that King Lobengula knew what he was getting into. Nonetheless, from here to there, Cecil John Rhodes created an entire country. Now, because he was a very modest man, he called the country Rhodesia after himself. So this country originally was not called Rhodesia, it was actually called the British South African Company. Cecil John Rhodes Company, or British South African Company, was very successful. After signing with Lobengula, they managed to take control of more and more areas further north of what is called the Zambezi River today. Eventually, in about 1923, they were so successful that the area that Rhodesia was controlling was huge. So they decided to divide it into two areas: Southern Rhodesia and Northern Rhodesia. And the border was basically the Zambezi River. In 1953, a federation was created between Rhodesia and Nyasaland. Now, a decade later, in about 1963, all European countries started slowly moving out of Africa and giving countries independence. Nyasaland was given independence, and today is called Malawi. Northern Rhodesia was given her independence, and it became Zambia of today. What didn't receive independence? Southern Rhodesia. And they really wanted independence. Turning to Britain to ask for independence or even demand independence, Britain didn't want to give them independence. And all Britain had to offer was something that similar to what Canada had, or Australia had, or New Zealand has, and Rhodesians didn't want that. They wanted the independence. Enough is enough. No other countries in Africa were controlled by Britain. South Africa already had her independence. She wanted her independence. In 1964, a man named Ian Smith became Prime Minister. And now things get quite juicy. I met Ian Smith. I was actually born in Bulawayo, Rhodesia, many years ago, last century. But that was where I was born, and I grew up there. I spent the first decade and a half of my life in Rhodesia. And one day I was sitting in a pavilion in Bulawayo. It was actually a fair. I was sitting there with my siblings and we were looking at all kinds of stickers that we picked up through the pavilion, and all of a sudden I heard a voice behind me.
Are you kids having fun there?
I can't remember much else of what happened, but it was very, very nice to have met him because he was a very, very nice fellow. In 1964, Southern Rhodesia held a referendum and they decided that they wanted independence from Britain. And Britain, as we know, wouldn't allow it. Southern Rhodesia issued this set of stamps, and you can see the stamp that I want to talk about today, we're going more into today, is displayed here as well.
This 1 shilling 3 pence stamp shows the aloe plant. The plant is known to have properties that help to heal and soften skin.
Ian Smith decided to declare independence unilaterally. So on the 11th of November 1965, which some people say is Armistice Day, he decided to declare independence. We are now called Rhodesia, not Southern Rhodesia, nothing. We are declaring independence. And they issued the same set with independence. Now here is when the set gets a little bit juicy, because mail sent to England with these stamps were declared illegal. And this is where Postkrieg comes in. And here you can see a similar letter sent to England with illegal stamps. As you can see, the postage paid for postage to England in 1966 was 1 shilling and 3 pence. But when it arrived in England, it received the hand stamp invalid stamps used. And to pay was 2 shillings and 6 pence. Now 2 shillings and 6 pence is simply because the way taxes were paid was there was double the rate that was supposed to be paid. Because it was supposed to be paid 1 shilling and 3 pence, double that was 2 shillings and 3 pence. And so the rate had to be paid. Now we have another example of later usage in which we can see this label.
The government has announced that stamps issued in Rhodesia of the kind used on this postal packet have no legal basis. The packet is accordingly surcharged.
Now, just to finish this part of the story, the same stamp was reissued after UDI, or after the Declaration of Independence, with the word Rhodesia, but a different rate. Before we sign off today, I have a favor to ask. I've entered my YouTube channel into a virtual exhibition, and one of the categories there is the People's Choice, and that is where you come in. Please, please, please vote for my site. You can vote for as many sites as you want to, but please vote for mine. If you do, I'll be grateful. Thank you very much. And if you don't, I won't know about it. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye.